Admiral Vexthor Kroll of the Xeraxian Empire stood aboard the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Earth. His scaled skin shimmered under the ambient lighting as he watched his supposedly invincible fleet position itself for what should have been a routine conquest. Status report on planetary defenses, he commanded, his secondary vocal cords adding a harmonic undertone that denoted his supreme confidence. Lieutenant Commander Yix, his chief tactical officer, responded with characteristic precision. Primitive, Admiral. Their orbital presence consists primarily of communications satellites and crude observation platforms. Military capabilities are fragmented across multiple nation-states. No energy weapons detected. No unified planetary defense system. Standard conquest protocols should suffice. Kroll's mouth tentacles curled in what passed for a smile among his species. The Xeraxian Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds, and Earth seemed like it would be among the easiest. Their intelligence suggested a species still fighting among themselves, their military forces divided by artificial boundaries and political ideologies. Begin the standard interference protocol, Kroll ordered. Disable their global communications networks and proceed with initial strike patterns. The first wave of Xeraxian ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their quantum shields easily deflecting the primitive missile attacks launched by various military installations. Everything was proceeding according to the standard invasion playbook. Until it wasn't. Admiral. Yix's voice carried an unusual note of alarm. We're detecting thousands of small objects approaching our ships, they appear to be civilian drones. Kroll's upper eyes blinked in confusion as he watched the tactical display. Swarms of tiny flying devices, clearly not military hardware, were approaching his ships from all directions. Before he could dismiss them as irrelevant, several of his escort vessels reported shield failures. Impossible, he muttered. Report. The humans are using their civilian drones as delivery systems for primitive but effective electromagnetic pulse devices, Yix explained, their voice betraying increasing concern. They're not trying to penetrate our shields, they're overloading them with concentrated bursts of crude electromagnetic energy. Kroll's confidence began to waver as he watched 3 of his ships lose power and begin plummeting toward Earth's surface. The humans had somehow coordinated a global response using technology that his intelligence service had dismissed as harmless entertainment devices. Sir, we're detecting unusual activity in their orbital debris field, another officer reported. The humans they're using their space station's maneuvering thrusters to direct debris toward our fleet. The tactical display showed clouds of space junk, defunct satellites, spent rocket stages, and various other pieces of human technological waste, being deliberately maneuvered into the paths of his ships. While such impacts couldn't penetrate their shields directly, the constant bombardment was forcing his fleet to expend precious energy maintaining shield integrity. Admiral, our cyber warfare systems are reporting unusual resistance, Yix added, their scales shifting to a pale shade that indicated deep concern. The humans aren't using military-grade firewalls. They're routing their defense coordination through something called TikTok and Instagram. Our AI can't predict their command and control patterns because they're hidden within billions of cat videos and dance challenges. Kroll's mouth tentacles twisted in frustration. None of this aligned with standard planetary conquest protocols. A Level 2 civilization shouldn't be capable of such adaptive resistance. Yet here they were, watching their carefully planned invasion being disrupted by a species that still primarily used combustion engines for transportation. Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface, a sensor officer called out. They're using their commercial satellite dishes as improvised electromagnetic weapons. Thousands of them, all redirecting our own ship's energy emissions back at us. The situation deteriorated further as reports flooded in of humans using their primitive but numerous weather radars as makeshift targeting systems, coordinating their efforts through online gaming servers that proved impossible to shut down. Their cellular networks, rather than collapsing under Xeraxian cyber attacks, simply rerouted through millions of interconnected devices, creating a mesh network that adapted faster than the invasion fleet's AI could track. Admiral, Yixa's voice had grown quiet. We're receiving a transmission. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, using our own communication protocols. Kroll's 4 eyes narrowed. How did they decode our encryption so quickly? They didn't, sir. They wrote an app for it. Apparently, they called it a weekend hackathon. The main view screen activated, showing a human female wearing what appeared to be casual clothing adorned with cartoon characters. Behind her stood representatives from various Earth nations, all looking grimly determined. This is Professor Juhi Sharma of the Emergency Earth Defense Coalition, she announced, her voice steady and confident. I'll keep this brief since I have a raid scheduled in World of Warcraft in 20 minutes. Your invasion force has demonstrated remarkable technological sophistication but equally remarkable tactical rigidity. Did you really think a species that spent its entire history fighting itself wouldn't be really good at finding creative ways to break things? Kroll's scales flushed with indignation. You dare mock the might of the Xeraxian Empire? Oh, we dare quite a lot, Professor Sharma replied with a slight smile. While you were trying to decode our military transmissions, thousands of amateur radio enthusiasts were reverse engineering your shield frequencies. While you were attempting to disable our defense networks, millions of teenagers were rewriting their video game aimbots to target your ships. And while you were wondering why we weren't following your predictable conquest protocols. She paused for effect. We were teaching our social media algorithms to wage war. As if to punctuate her point, another wave of civilian drones attacked, this time carrying small devices that began broadcasting what appeared to be cat videos. The supposedly impenetrable Xeraxian neural networks began to crash as they were overwhelmed by an endless stream of feline-based content. You have 30 minutes to retreat, Professor Sharma concluded. After that, we start uploading TikTok dances directly into your ship's computer cores. Trust me, you don't want to see what Generation Z can do when they treat alien invasion like a content creation challenge. Admiral Kroll looked at his tactical display, watching as more of his ships fell victim to the humans' impossibly creative defensive measures. In all his years of military service, he had never encountered a species so adaptively dangerous, so unpredictably innovative, so frustratingly effective at turning their apparent weaknesses into strengths. All ships, he finally announced, his harmonics carrying the unfamiliar tone of defeat, prepare for emergency transition. We're leaving. As the Xeraxian fleet retreated through hyperspace, Admiral Kroll made 2 entries in his official log. The first was a recommendation that Earth be classified as a Sigma-level prohibited zone, too dangerous for standard military engagement. The second was a personal note: never underestimate a species that can turn social media into a weapon of war. They don't think like we do, and that's exactly what makes them terrifying. Back on Earth, Professor Sharma turned to her colleagues with a tired smile. Well, that worked better than expected. Though I have to say, coordinating planetary defense through Reddit and Discord was not something I covered in my tenure review. If it works, her colleague from Kenya, Dr. Njeri, shrugged, already turning back to his tablet where he was shutting down the emergency planetary defense subreddit. Anyone up for some Stellaris? I hear the new Invasion Defense mod is surprisingly realistic. The room erupted in exhausted laughter. They had just repelled an alien invasion using repurposed civilian technology, social media networks, and humanity's particular talent for turning absolutely anything into a weapon. And somehow, it had worked. Perhaps that was humanity's greatest strength, not their missiles or satellites or hastily weaponized TikTok algorithms, but their infinite capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to turn their adversaries' expectations against them. The stars seemed a little brighter that night, as if acknowledging that humanity had earned its place among them not through overwhelming force or advanced technology, but through sheer, unstoppable creativity and determination. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a thoroughly humbled alien admiral was adding a new rule to the Zeraxian military manual: when invading a species that turns cat videos into cyber weapons, reconsider your life choices. Digital warfare. They're coming back, announced Risha Patel, her fingers flying across 3 different keyboards simultaneously. The former Silicon Valley cybersecurity expert hadn't slept in 48 hours, sustained only by coffee and the adrenaline rush of defending Earth through what she had started calling meme warfare. The underground command center, hastily established in an abandoned data center in Iceland, hummed with the energy of thousands of servers. What had once hosted Bitcoin mining operations now served as humanity's digital defense headquarters. The walls were covered with monitors displaying everything from global network traffic to trending hashtags, their new early warning system for alien activity. Multiple quantum signatures detected, confirmed Jamie Rodriguez, the former head of SETI's data analysis team. The Zeraxians brought friends this time. Much bigger fleet. He paused, studying the readings. And they've upgraded their neural networks. Risha allowed herself a small smile. Of course they did. But so have we. She opened a secure channel to their global network of civilian volunteers. Operation Rickroll is now active. Time to show them what Web 4.0 looks like. Across the planet, millions of ordinary citizens activated specialized apps on their phones, tablets, and computers. Each device became part of a vast, decentralized defense network that no alien AI could predict because it operated on the most chaotic logic in the universe: human social media behavior. The Zeraxian fleet, now led by Grand Admiral Yexthor himself, approached Earth with what they believed was an unstoppable cyber warfare suite. Their ships carried quantum computers capable of breaking any encryption, and their AI had been specifically programmed to counter human digital tactics. Begin the assault, Yexthor commanded. Disable their primitive networks. The alien cyber attack struck like a tsunami, and scattered like water hitting a million different rocks. Instead of finding centralized networks to disable, their programs encountered an ever-shifting maze of TikTok trends, Twitter threads, and Instagram stories. Every time they thought they'd found a command and control center, it turned out to be another Discord server dedicated to sharing pictures of puppies. "Sir," reported the Zeraxian cyber warfare chief, "we can't isolate their military communications. They're hiding them in something called spam emails and clickbait articles. There are billions of them." In the Iceland command center, Risha watched the alien attempts to penetrate Earth's defenses with satisfaction. "Release the influencers," she ordered. Across the globe, millions of social media content creators switched to emergency protocols they'd been secretly practicing. Every post, every meme, every viral video now carried encrypted commands for Earth's defense systems. The aliens couldn't stop the traffic without shutting down the entire internet, and doing that would disable the very systems they were trying to hack. "They're attempting to breach the gaming networks," announced Viktor Petrov, a former esports champion who now coordinated their gaming-based defense grid. Implementing protocol speedrun. Thousands of professional gamers and streamers sprang into action, their years of experience with minimal latency and split-second timing now serving a greater purpose. They turned multiplayer servers into encrypted communication channels, using speedrunning techniques to transmit data faster than the alien AI could track. "Sir." The Zeraxian cyber chief's scales had turned pale. "The humans are using something called lag switching to disrupt our targeting systems. And they're attacking our neural networks with something called trash talk." Grand Admiral Yexthor watched in growing horror as his sophisticated cyber warfare suite was overwhelmed by what appeared to be an endless stream of keyboard smashing, leetspeak, and something humans called copypasta. Their AI couldn't process the sheer illogical nature of human internet communication. Back on Earth, Risha implemented the next phase of their defense. Release the Crypto Brothers. Thousands of blockchain enthusiasts repurposed their mining rigs, using them not to mine cryptocurrency but to solve the complex equations needed to predict and counter alien quantum computing attacks. Every failed NFT project and abandoned crypto scheme became ammunition in Earth's digital arsenal. Admiral, reported a junior officer aboard the Xeraxian flagship, we're detecting millions of defunct digital tokens being weaponized against our systems. They're calling it To the Moon Protocol. The alien fleet's communications began to break down as their networks were flooded with giant ASCII art of diamonds and rocket ships. Their attempts to regain control were thwarted by an endless stream of HODL messages and blockchain manifesto posts. Time for the finale, Risha announced. Execute Operation Viral Content. Every meme page, every YouTube channel, every social media account on Earth activated at once. The aliens found their sophisticated communications systems overwhelmed by decades' worth of human internet culture. Their AI tried to process everything from dancing babies to philosophy podcast clips, from cat videos to long-form Twitter threads about proper hot dog classification. Admiral, the cyber warfare chief's voice had risen to a panic. Their attack makes no sense. They're using something called shitposting as a cyber weapon. Our logic engines can't handle the inherent contradictions. Grand Admiral Yexthor watched as his fleet systems began to crash one by one. The humans had turned their entire digital infrastructure into a weapon, using the very chaos and unpredictability that the Xeraxians had dismissed as primitive to overwhelm their more advanced but rigidly logical systems. "Sir," called out a junior officer, "we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast through something called Twitch Stream Chat." Risha's face appeared on their screens, surrounded by scrolling emotes and chat messages. "I'll keep this simple," she said, taking a sip from a mug labeled "I debug like a girl." "Your quantum computers are impressive, but they're designed to process logical information. Humanity's internet stopped being logical somewhere around 2007. You're not just fighting our technology, you're fighting every silly trend, every viral meme, every inside joke we've ever created." She leaned forward, her expression serious despite the background of scrolling PogChamps and Kappas. "This is your last warning. Retreat now, or we start deploying our contemporary art APIs. Trust me, if your AI can't handle shitposting, it definitely can't process interpretive dance TikToks." The Grand Admiral looked at his disabled fleet, his crashed networks, and his thoroughly traumatized cyber warfare team. In all his years of conquest, he had never encountered a species that could weaponize its own digital chaos so effectively. "All ships," he commanded, "emergency retreat. And purge all local copies of human internet content before it spreads to our home networks." As the alien fleet fled, Risha finally allowed herself to relax. Around her, the global team of digital defenders celebrated their victory. They had turned the very aspects of human internet culture that seemed most frivolous, its memes, its trends, its endless streams of content, into humanity's strongest defense. "Should we tell them about Web 5.0? Victor asked with a grin. "Let's save something for next time," Risha replied, already drafting a report titled "Defending Earth Through Distributed Shitposting, a New Paradigm in Cyber Warfare." The stars twinkled above the Iceland facility, and somewhere in the vast digital ocean of human creation, a cat video played, a meme was shared, and humanity's chaotic digital heart beat on, now proven to be not just a cultural phenomenon, but a shield protecting Earth from those who would never understand the power of viral content. Innovative artillery. Marcus Torres stood in what had once been the world's largest radio telescope facility in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. The massive dish, previously used to search for alien life, had been transformed into something the aliens definitely weren't going to appreciate. Around him, a diverse team of engineers from across the globe worked tirelessly, converting everyday technology into humanity's newest defensive weapons. "Status report on Project Kitchen Sink," he asked, watching as workers installed modified microwave magnetrons around the dish's perimeter. Dr. Aisha Rahman, formerly a kitchen appliance design engineer from Bangladesh, looked up from her tablet. "We've successfully synchronized 10,000 microwave ovens. When combined with the dish's focusing capability, they'll generate enough concentrated electromagnetic energy to disable alien shield matrices. She paused, then added with a slight smile, plus, they can still heat up lunch. The facility had become Earth's primary weapons development center, not because it had the most advanced technology, but because it had the most creative minds. After the first 2 alien attacks, humanity had learned that conventional weapons weren't the answer. Instead, they needed to think differently, very differently. Satellite update, called out Nikolai Volkov, their orbital systems specialist. The Starlink constellation has been fully modified. Each satellite is now equipped with what we're calling quantum confusion generators, basically TikTok algorithms repurposed to scramble alien navigation systems. Marcus nodded, reviewing the latest innovations on his holographic display. After the Zyraxians' second retreat, Earth's nations had united in an unprecedented way. Every technology, from children's toys to industrial equipment, was being evaluated for its potential as a weapon. "Sir." A young engineer rushed up, nearly tripping over cables. "The test results from Operation Microverse are in. The modified video game motion sensors are successfully detecting alien quantum signatures." This had been one of their more unusual breakthroughs. They discovered that the infrared sensors from popular gaming consoles, when modified and linked together in vast networks, could detect alien cloaking technology. It turned out that technology designed to track teenage dance moves was surprisingly effective at tracking alien ships. The facility's alert system suddenly blared. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," announced the AI assistant, its voice synthesized from a popular navigation app. "Large fleet approaching. Estimated time to engagement, 30 minutes. Marcus straightened his back. "This is it, people. Time to show them what human engineering can really do. Initiate protocol everything and the kitchen sink." Across the globe, seemingly ordinary objects transformed into Earth's defensive grid. Shopping mall escalators reversed their motors, becoming electromagnetic rail guns. Stadium sound systems, synchronized globally, generated interference fields that disrupted alien sensors. Even children's bubble machines had been modified to release clouds of nanomaterial that played havoc with alien targeting systems. In orbit, the approaching Zyraxian fleet, now led by Supreme Warmaster Zexthor, no relation to the previous commanders, the Zyraxians just really liked that name format, prepared for what they believed would be a conventional battle. "Our intelligence suggests they've exhausted their supply of digital weapons," the Warmaster announced confidently. "This time, we face only their primitive physical technology." The first indication that this assessment might be slightly off came when their advanced sensors detected an unusual energy signature from Earth. "Sir," reported the science officer, "they appear to be pointing millions of television remote controls at our ships." Before the Warmaster could dismiss this as ridiculous, the combined infrared pulses from billions of TV remotes, focused through repurposed satellite dishes, created an electromagnetic pulse that knocked out their targeting systems. "Status report," Zexthor demanded. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from everywhere. They're using their planet's cellular networks as a massive sensor array. Traffic cameras are tracking our movements. And, sir, they're attacking our shields with modified hair dryers." Dr. Ramon's theory had proven correct. When enough consumer electronics were synchronized and focused properly, they could affect alien technology. The Zyraxians found their supposedly impenetrable shields being eroded by concentrated blasts from millions of repurposed household appliances. "They're launching projectiles," announced the tactical officer. The Warmaster expected missiles. Instead, their ships were pelted with millions of small objects that their sensors identified as fidget spinners. The simple toys had been modified with quantum-resonant materials, their rotating motion creating interference patterns that disrupted the aliens' artificial gravity systems. "Sir, our ships are being targeted by pizza ovens." The Arecibo dish had come online, its massive array of synchronized microwave emitters, salvaged from restaurants, homes, and convenience stores worldwide, focusing an enormous burst of electromagnetic energy that turned the alien fleet's sophisticated electronics into very expensive space junk. In the command center, Marcus watched the battle unfold. Activate the Roomba defense grid. Millions of robotic vacuum cleaners, modified with electromagnetic pulse generators, deployed across cities worldwide. The Zyraxians, attempting to launch a ground invasion, found their landing craft disabled by cleaning appliances programmed with surprisingly aggressive anti-alien protocols. Sir. The alien tactical officer's scales had turned a pale green. The humans are using their entertainment systems as sonic weapons. Our troops are being incapacitated by something called K-pop. The War Master watched in horror as his mighty invasion force was systematically dismantled by technology that, by all rights, shouldn't have posed any threat at all. Their sensors were being blinded by modified car headlights. Their communications were being jammed by repurposed garage door openers. And their ground forces were retreating from armies of modified robot toys. Receiving transmission from the surface, announced the communications officer. It's being broadcast through their refrigerator network. Marcus's face appeared on their screens, surrounded by holographic displays showing the status of Earth's improvised defense systems. I'll be brief, he said, adjusting what appeared to be a gaming headset. Your technology is impressive, but you made one crucial mistake. You assumed that just because something was designed for a simple purpose, that's all it could do. He gestured to the chaos around him. Humans have spent centuries making things work in ways they were never intended to. We turned social media into military command systems. We turned game consoles into alien detectors. We even turned our appliances into anti-spacecraft weapons. Want to guess what we're doing with our gym equipment? The War Master looked at his tactical display, watching as another wave of ships was disabled by what appeared to be a coordinated attack from modified treadmills. All forces, he commanded, full retreat. And someone please explain to High Command how we were defeated by kitchen appliances. As the alien fleet fled, Marcus turned to his team. Great work, everyone. Dr. Rahman, I believe you said something about lunch. The defense microwave array has been recalibrated for pizza rolls, she confirmed with a grin. Around the world, humanity's improvised defense grid powered down. Shopping malls resumed normal operations. Robot vacuums returned to their charging stations. Television remotes went back to their primary purpose of arguing over what to watch. But things would never be quite the same. Humanity had proven that their greatest strength wasn't in building dedicated weapons, but in their ability to see the potential for extraordinary uses in ordinary things. Every device, every gadget, every piece of technology, no matter how simple, could become something more. As night fell over Arecibo, Marcus looked up at the stars, a modified tablet in his hands already displaying plans for converting washing machines into quantum field generators. The universe had learned an important lesson. On Earth, everything was a potential weapon, limited only by human creativity and the number of power outlets available. And somewhere in space, a thoroughly humbled alien commander was adding yet another warning to the growing list: before invading Earth, check if they've weaponized their toasters. Underground resistance. Kenzo Tanaka hadn't planned on becoming a resistance leader. 2 weeks ago, he'd been a food delivery driver in Osaka, Japan. Now he was coordinating a global network of delivery workers turned guerrilla fighters against the latest Zyraxian invasion attempt. Status update from Southeast Asia, he asked, watching dozens of holograms projected from repurposed smartphone screens in their underground command center, a converted ramen restaurant. Mei Lin, formerly a bicycle courier from Singapore, appeared on one of the screens. We've modified all delivery drones in the region with electromagnetic pulse generators. The aliens won't expect a takeout order to disable their ground forces. The resistance had grown from a simple observation. Delivery workers knew every back alley, every shortcut, and every hidden route in every city on Earth. While the aliens focused on major military targets, this shadow army of couriers, drivers, and delivery workers had been quietly organizing the largest underground movement in human history. European Division reporting, announced Pierre Durant, a Parisian food delivery veteran. We've successfully converted all food delivery apps into resistance coordination systems. Every order is now a coded message. Every delivery route is a tactical deployment. The aliens had learned to fear human technology and digital warfare, but they hadn't counted on the ingenuity of ordinary civilians armed with nothing but intimate knowledge of their cities and an endless supply of creative solutions. "Sir!" A young courier burst into the command center. "The Xyraxians have launched their fifth invasion wave. They're trying a new strategy, targeting our transportation infrastructure." Kenzo allowed himself a small smile. "Exactly as we predicted. Initiate Operation Rush Hour." Across the globe, millions of delivery workers sprang into action. What appeared to be normal delivery traffic suddenly transformed into a coordinated resistance movement. Food delivery bikes carried signal jammers disguised as thermal bags. Package courier vans concealed mobile command centers. Even the mundane act of parallel parking became a tactical maneuver. In orbit, Ultra Supreme War Master Rex Thor, the Xyraxians were running out of commanding officers and name formats, watched the deployment of their latest invasion strategy. "This time, we target their civilian infrastructure," he announced. "No more wasting resources on military targets. Cut off their supply lines, and victory will be assured." The first wave of Xyraxian ground forces deployed into major cities worldwide, expecting to find chaos and disruption. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't see, using weapons they couldn't predict. "Sir!" A field commander reported frantically. "The humans are using their food delivery vehicles as mobile jammers. Every time we try to establish a secure position, we're bombarded with lunch orders." The resistance had turned every delivery into a tactical operation. Pizza boxes concealed electronic warfare devices. Coffee cups contained sensor scramblers. Even the seemingly random patterns of scooter traffic were actually a complex deployment strategy developed through years of optimizing delivery routes. "They're everywhere," another commander reported. "We can't distinguish their resistance fighters from ordinary delivery workers because they're the same people." In the underground command center, Kenzo coordinated the global response. Deploy the street food vendors. Across Asia, thousands of food carts and street stalls activated hidden defense systems. What looked like steam from cooking noodles was actually sensor jamming vapor. The sizzle of grills masked the frequency of communication devices. Years of handling multiple orders during rush hour had prepared these vendors for the ultimate multitasking challenge, serving customers while fighting aliens. "Sir," a Xyraxian tactical officer reported to Rex Thor, "our ground forces are being routed by noodle carts." "That's impossible," the War Master sputtered. "How can they coordinate such a response without any military infrastructure?" "Sir, they're using their delivery tracking systems. Every food order is a tactical command. Every customer review is a battlefield report. They've turned their entire civilian delivery network into a military command structure." The resistance had even weaponized traffic jams. Delivery drivers, who had spent years navigating through impossible congestion, now used that knowledge to trap alien forces in gridlock while civilian technicians disabled their equipment with modified car stereos. "Receiving transmission," announced the alien communications officer. "It's being broadcast through food delivery apps." Kenzo's face appeared on their screens, his delivery uniform now adorned with improvised tactical gear. "Let me explain something about Earth's delivery workers," he said, adjusting his helmet-mounted camera. "We've spent years perfecting the art of getting anything anywhere, regardless of obstacles. Traffic? We have routes for that. Bad weather? We have gear for that. Alien invasion? Well, we're adapting." He gestured to the chaos unfolding in cities worldwide. You thought targeting our infrastructure would weaken us? We deal with broken infrastructure every day. You thought disrupting our supply lines would stop us? We are the supply lines. Every delivery worker knows a dozen ways to get across their city without using main roads. Every street vendor knows exactly where to position themselves for maximum effect. The War Master watched in horror as his ground forces were systematically outmaneuvered by an enemy that knew every alley, every shortcut, and every hiding spot in every city on the planet. "Sir," reported a tactical officer, "they're using their food delivery algorithms to predict our movement patterns. And they're deploying something called hangry customers as shock troops." Rexthor looked at his tactical display, watching as another battalion was trapped in what appeared to be a coordinated traffic jam orchestrated entirely by delivery scooters. "All forces," he commanded, "full retreat. And someone please explain to High Command how we were defeated by takeout orders." As the alien forces withdrew, Kenzo turned to his team. "Good work, everyone. Regular delivery service can resume, after we remove the electromagnetic pulse generators from the pizza boxes." Around the world, the Resistance Network powered down its combat operations. Delivery drivers returned to their regular routes. Street vendors went back to focusing on food rather than tactical warfare. But things would never be quite the same. Humanity had proven that their greatest strength wasn't in traditional military might, but in the incredible adaptability of ordinary people doing ordinary jobs in extraordinary ways. That evening, as Kenzo made one last delivery run through the streets of Osaka, he looked up at the stars. The universe had learned another important lesson: on Earth, everyone was a potential defender, every job a potential tactical advantage, and every pizza delivery a possible act of resistance. And somewhere in space, a thoroughly humbled alien commander was adding yet another warning to the growing list: before invading Earth, check if they've weaponized their takeout. In his ramen shop command center, Kenzo smiled as he approved another batch of special deliveries, resistance supply drops disguised as late-night food orders. The aliens might have mastered interstellar travel, but they'd never understand the true power of Earth's delivery networks, where every courier was a potential hero and every delivery route a path to victory. The final stand. General Isabella Santos stood in the newly established Global Defense Command Center, converted from an abandoned shopping mall in Rio de Janeiro. Around her, representatives from every previous defensive effort had gathered for what intelligence suggested would be the Zyraxians' final, desperate attempt to conquer Earth. "They're throwing everything they have at us this time," she announced to the assembled team. "All their remaining ships, all their best technology, all their most advanced tactics." Risha Patel, the cybersecurity expert who had turned social media into a weapon, nodded from her station. "Our digital defenses are ready. They still haven't figured out how to counter weaponized memes." "The civilian tech array is operational," reported Marcus Torres, surrounded by displays showing the status of their improvised weapons systems. "Every microwave, remote control, and fidget spinner on Earth is primed for defense." Kenzo Tanaka, representing the Global Delivery Worker Resistance, pulled up a holographic map of their underground network. "All delivery routes are synchronized. The moment they land, they'll face an army they can't see using tactics they can't predict." The command center itself reflected humanity's unconventional approach to defense. Gaming consoles served as tactical interfaces. Food delivery apps had been modified into military command and control systems. Even the mall's old speaker system had been repurposed to broadcast disruption signals that interfered with alien communications. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," announced their AI assistant, its voice now a mixture of various digital assistants from around the world. "This is their largest fleet yet. Estimated time to engagement, 15 minutes. In orbit, Supreme Overlord Nexthor, the last remaining high-ranking commander willing to attempt an Earth invasion, prepared for what he believed would be the decisive battle. We've analyzed every previous failure," he announced to his fleet. "We've developed countermeasures for every human trick. This time, victory will be ours." The Zeraxian fleet deployed in a formation specifically designed to counter known human tactics. They had quantum shields to block electromagnetic attacks, AI systems hardened against digital warfare, and ground forces trained to deal with guerrilla resistance. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's ability to innovate in real time. "Begin Operation Everything Everywhere All at Once," General Santos commanded. The defense began with a seemingly simple update to Earth's social media networks. The Zeraxians, expecting another meme-based cyber attack, found their systems overwhelmed not by chaos this time, but by perfect order, millions of synchronized cat videos creating interference patterns that their quantum computers couldn't process. "Sir," the alien cyber warfare chief reported, "they're not using random digital noise anymore. They're using coordinated digital noise. Our filters can't distinguish between their attack patterns and background data." Before they could adapt, the improvised weapons array activated. But instead of direct attacks, Earth's repurposed technology created a global network of intersecting fields and signals. Television remotes, microwave ovens, and game controllers worked in harmony to generate a planetary defense grid that turned the aliens' own advanced technology against them. "Their shields," a Zeraxian officer reported in disbelief, "they're being disrupted by resonance patterns from modified karaoke machines." The civilian resistance struck next. Delivery workers worldwide launched a coordinated campaign that turned every city into a maze of electronic warfare and tactical confusion. Food delivery drones equipped with signal jammers swarmed alien landing craft. Bicycle couriers deployed mobile EMP devices disguised as thermal bags. Even the pattern of traffic itself had been choreographed to create electromagnetic disruption fields. "We can't land our forces," another officer reported. "Every time we find a clear zone, it turns out to be a trap coordinated through their food delivery algorithms." General Santos watched the battle unfold on displays cobbled together from gaming monitors and repurposed billboard screens. "Time for the finale," she announced. "Activate the Global Unity Protocol." This was humanity's masterstroke, the combination of every defensive system they developed. Social media networks coordinated with modified appliances, which synchronized with delivery routes, creating a planetary-scale defense system that operated on principles the aliens couldn't comprehend. "Sir," reported the Zeraxian tactical officer, they're using everything at once. Their digital attacks are coordinating with their physical weapons, which are synchronizing with their ground forces. It's like the entire planet has become a single defensive organism." The Supreme Overlord watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by an enemy that had turned their entire civilization, from its highest technology to its most mundane aspects, into an integrated weapons platform. "Receiving transmission," announced the communications officer. "They're broadcasting through everything." General Santos appeared on their screens, her image carried by every digital display on Earth simultaneously. "I'll make this simple," she said, standing amid the transformed shopping mall command center. "You've tried to conquer us 5 times now. Each time, you've failed to understand one crucial fact: humanity's greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to turn anything and everything into a tool for survival." She gestured to the chaos unfolding around her. "Look at what we've accomplished. We turned social media into military command systems. We turned household appliances into anti-spacecraft weapons. We turned our delivery workers into a global resistance army. And now we've turned our entire planet into a single, integrated defense platform." The displays showed scenes from around the world, teenagers coordinating drone swarms through modified game controllers, delivery workers using traffic patterns as tactical maneuvers, grandmothers deploying modified knitting needles as signal antenna arrays. "This is your final warning," Santos continued. "Leave Earth and never return. Because if you think this is impressive, wait until you see what we can do with our actual military technology, which, by the way, we haven't even had to use yet." The Supreme Overlord looked at his tactical display, watching as his fleet was systematically disabled by what appeared to be a coordinated attack involving social media trends, modified kitchen appliances, and synchronized food deliveries. "All forces," he commanded, his voice heavy with defeat, "permanent retreat. Send word to High Command, Earth is to be classified as a Class X prohibited zone. No further contact authorized." As the alien fleet fled for the last time, the global defense network powered down. Gaming consoles returned to running games. Kitchen appliances went back to cooking food. Delivery workers resumed their regular routes. In the command center, General Santos turned to her team. "Well done, everyone. I believe this calls for a celebration. I know a great pizza place," Kenzo offered with a grin. "Delivery time might be a bit slower now that we've removed the tactical warfare systems from the scooters. And I can set up a victory live stream," Risha added. "Though it'll be weird using social media for actual social media again." "Keep the modifications," Santos advised. "Something tells me humanity's reputation is about to change dramatically in the galactic community." As night fell over Rio de Janeiro, the stars seemed to shine with new respect for the planet they watched. Humanity had proven that their greatest weapon wasn't any single technology or tactic, but their unlimited capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to unite in the face of overwhelming odds. Years later, alien civilizations would still tell stories about Earth, the planet that turned its entire culture into a weapon of war. They spoke in hushed tones about the humans, who could weaponize anything from their primitive digital networks to their food delivery systems. And in the great galactic archives, Earth's file was marked with a simple but profound warning. Approach with extreme caution. Everything is a potential weapon. Even their cat videos. Back on Earth, life returned to normal, or at least, a new normal where every smartphone might be a defense system, every delivery route a tactical advantage, and every social media trend a potential military strategy. Humanity had learned that their greatest strength wasn't in creating dedicated weapons, but in their ability to turn their entire civilization into a shield when needed. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, a thoroughly humbled alien commander was submitting his final report. In conclusion, do not attempt to invade Earth. They will defeat you with memes, microwaves, and meal deliveries, and they'll probably make a viral video about it afterward.